Imagine this. You wake up one morning, and the man you once were feels like a fading memory. The strength that once defined you, the desire that once burned so naturally, now feels like a candle struggling against the wind. For many men over 60, this silent decline becomes the unspoken truth they carry within themselves, day after day, too ashamed to say it out loud, too fearful to confront it. And yet, what if I told you that losing your intimate vitality is not an inevitable destiny? What if I told you that your libido, your masculine energy, your confidence and intimacy can be preserved, renewed, and even reignited, regardless of your age? As a urologist who has spent decades caring for men like you, I've witnessed the silent pain behind your smiles, the frustration that hides in your eyes, and the doubts that keep you awake at night. You wonder, is this the beginning of the end for me? Am I destined to live without that spark, that fire, that part of me that once defined who I am as a man? And yet, I assure you, it doesn't have to be that way. Your body may have crossed the threshold of 60, but your spirit, your capacity for desire, and your ability to live fully are far from over. In fact, what you do now, in this very decade, can determine whether your intimate life becomes a story of decline or a story of rebirth. And the difference lies not in chance, but in choice. Let me ask you a question. Have you ever considered how much of your vitality is still locked inside you, simply waiting for the right keys to be turned? Too often men accept myths whispered in their ears. It's normal to stop feeling desire after 60. It's natural for your body to give up. You just have to accept it. These lies become chains, binding you to a reality that isn't even yours. And yet, I have seen men break free from these chains. I have seen men in their 60s, 70s, even 80s rediscover strength, intimacy, and confidence that rivals their younger years. The truth is, your body is not betraying you. It is signaling you. It's asking for care, for attention, for small but powerful changes that can transform your entire life. When ignored, these signals become warnings: fatigue, frustration, and fading libido. But when listened to, when acted upon, they open the door to renewal, intimacy, and vitality. Now let me speak to you not only as a doctor, but as a woman who has dedicated her life to understanding the male body, its strengths, its vulnerabilities, and its resilience. I know the courage it takes to face these truths. I know the shame that sometimes silences you. And I also know the pride you can feel when you reclaim what you thought was lost. Because here's the revelation you must never forget. Libido is not just about sex. It is about life itself. It is the pulse of your masculinity, the rhythm of your confidence, the spark that fuels your energy not only in the bedroom, but in every part of your existence. So, before you let despair whisper in your ear, before you accept the lie that it's too late for you, I want you to pause and imagine something. Imagine waking up tomorrow with that fire alive again, the fire that makes you feel like a man in every sense. Imagine looking at yourself in the mirror and knowing that age has not taken away your strength, but rather refined it, matured it, prepared it for a new chapter. Imagine the look in your partner's eyes when she feels your energy again, not just physically, but emotionally, when she sees in you the man she has always admired, the man who never gave up. That vision is not a fantasy. It is not a story reserved for a lucky few. It is a reality I've helped countless men build, and it is a reality you can claim too. But first, you must be willing to listen, to open your mind, and to take the steps that will guide you there. Tonight, I am going to share with you what so many men wish they had known before it was too late. I am going to reveal 5 essential pieces of advice, 5 truths that can protect your libido, safeguard your vitality, and help you live with strength, confidence, and passion even after 60. And let me tell you, these are not quick fixes or empty promises. They are powerful, science-backed, life-tested strategies that can change the way you age. But before we dive into these 5 truths, I need you to make me one promise. Don't turn away. Don't allow discomfort, shame, or disbelief to stop you. Because every second you listen could be the very second that changes your future. Remember, your age does not define your passion. Your choices do. So, lean closer. Let my voice guide you. Because what I am about to reveal is not just information, it is an awakening. Now that you are here, listening with an open heart and a mind ready for truth, let me tell you exactly what awaits you in the next few minutes. You are about to step into a world where silence is broken, where myths are shattered, and where your body, even after 60, is recognized not as something fading, but as something waiting to be reignited. What I will reveal to you tonight is not a miracle cure, nor is it a fleeting trick that gives you a spark for a moment only to leave you empty the next day. No. What I'm going to share with you are 5 essential principles, 5 pieces of advice that I, as a urologist who has guided thousands of men, consider the foundation for preserving and restoring libido after 60. And when I say libido, understand this. I am not speaking merely of sexual performance. I am speaking of energy, of vitality, of masculine confidence that radiates from within and transforms the way you live every part of your life. But here is the promise I make to you. If you listen closely, if you allow yourself to truly absorb what I am about to say, you will never again see your age as a limitation. Instead, you will begin to see it as a stage of wisdom, where with the right guidance, your passion can be as alive as it was decades ago, only deeper, stronger, and more enduring. Let me give you a glimpse of what lies ahead. In this journey, we will uncover the silent enemies that drain your desire, slowly and invisibly, so that you can recognize them and cast them out of your life. You will understand how your daily choices, what you eat, how you move, what you think, are not small details but powerful forces that either nurture or destroy your libido. And you will discover why some men remain vibrant and passionate deep into their 70s and 80s, while others surrender to decline before their time. I will show you why testosterone is not the only key, though it is important, and why focusing only on pills or superficial fixes can leave you more frustrated than fulfilled. Instead, you will see that the secret is in nurturing the roots of your masculinity, your blood flow, your hormones, your mind, and even your emotional connection with yourself and with your partner. These are the pillars that support your libido, and without them, no supplement or quick solution will ever hold. But here is where the open loop begins, because among the 5 truths I will reveal, one of them is the most powerful, the most transformative, and the most unexpected of all. It is the one that men, even those I have treated for decades, often overlook. And yet, once they discover it, it becomes the turning point of their journey, the reason they are able to look in the mirror again with pride and say, "Yes, I still have it. I am still alive, still strong, still capable. I promise you, before this video ends, I will share this secret with you. I will not only tell you what it is, but I will also guide you on how to apply it in your own life, so that your 60, 70, or 80 years will not be a shadow of your past, but a sunrise of new beginnings. But let me also be very clear. This journey requires honesty. You must be willing to face the habits that are stealing your vitality. You must be ready to hear truths that may be uncomfortable, truths that will challenge you but will also set you free. Because the greatest tragedy I see in my practice is not the man who has lost his libido, it is the man who has lost his hope. And I will not allow you to be that man. So, here is my promise to you. If you stay with me until the end, you will walk away not just with knowledge, but with power. The power to choose differently, the power to reclaim what you thought was gone, the power to live as a man who does not surrender to time, but instead uses time as his ally. I will guide you through each of the 5 essential advices, step by step, weaving together science, experience, and the stories of men who, like you, once doubted but later triumphed. You will hear how a man at 65 reignited his marriage after years of silence, how another at 70 finally broke free from the myth that intimacy was over for him, and how you too can become part of this story of rebirth. But until I reveal the 5th and final truth, the one secret that no pill, no magazine, and no casual advice will ever give you, I will leave you with this lingering thought. Your libido is not dying. It is waiting. Waiting for you to claim it, waiting for you to give it what it needs, waiting for you to believe that your best years of passion may still be ahead. Stay with me. Because in a few moments, everything you thought about aging and desire will begin to change. Let me pause for a moment and speak to you not just as a doctor, but as someone who has walked alongside thousands of men in this same chapter of life. I know the questions that weigh on your heart, because I have heard them whispered in my office, spoken in tears, sometimes buried in silence for years. And I know the courage it takes, as a man over 60, to admit that something as intimate as your libido has begun to change. You see, when I talk about this subject, I am not speaking from theory alone. I am speaking from decades of experience, from stories of men who entered my clinic convinced that the fire inside them had gone out forever, and from the joy of watching them rediscover themselves after applying the right steps. I have dedicated my life to understanding how men's bodies change with age, not just biologically, but emotionally, psychologically, spiritually. Because libido is not an isolated function, it is the mirror of your entire health. I remember one patient. Let's call him Richard. He was 62 when he first came to me. His shoulders carried the weight of disappointment, and his voice trembled when he confessed, "Doctor, I don't feel like myself anymore. My wife thinks I don't love her, but it's not that. I just can't." Behind his words was not only the fear of losing intimacy, but also the deeper fear of losing his identity as a man. But with time, with guidance, and with the application of the very same principles I will reveal to you, Richard found his way back. Today, at 68, he is healthier, more confident, and more connected with his wife than ever before. Or let me tell you about Daniel, 71, a widower who believed he had reached the end of his intimate life. "What's the point at my age?" he said when we first met. Yet, within months of applying changes in diet, exercise, and mental focus, he began to smile differently, to carry himself with strength, and eventually he found the courage to pursue love again. For him, libido was not only about intimacy, it was about life itself, about knowing he still had energy and passion to give. These stories matter because they are not unique. They are echoes of countless men who believed their age was a prison, until they realized it was a new beginning. And as a urologist, I have had the privilege of guiding them, step by step, toward reclaiming that fire. Now you may wonder, why trust me? Why believe the words of a stranger speaking to you through a screen? The answer is this. I am not here to flatter you, nor to sell you illusions. I am here because my life's work has been dedicated to men like you. I have seen the patterns, I have studied the science, and I have watched transformations unfold when men choose to act instead of surrender. And I am here now, looking into your heart, reminding you that you are not alone. Because the truth is, we, men and women of science, doctors who care deeply, already know what many of you fear to admit, that aging can feel like losing control. But here's the key. It doesn't have to be that way. The choices you make today can either feed decline or ignite renewal. And the reason I speak with such certainty is because I have seen both outcomes. I have seen men who ignore the signals, the fatigue, the loss of desire, the weight gain, the silent frustrations, and end up surrendering to illnesses that could have been prevented. But I have also seen men who take these signals as warnings, as calls to action, and who rise stronger, healthier, and more fulfilled than ever. The difference is not fate. The difference is guidance and decision. And this is why I am here with you now. Because too many men suffer in silence, believing no one understands. But I do understand. I have walked with men through this very battle, and I know the pain and the possibility. I know the despair and the hope. And I know that within you, even now, lies the strength to reclaim what you thought was gone. So, when I promise you 5 essential advices for preserving your libido after 60, understand this. These are not random tips. They are distilled from years of medical practice, from countless stories of struggle and victory, and from the undeniable science that proves your body is still capable of greatness. They are the very same principles I have seen reignite lives, marriages, and identities. And as we continue this journey together, I want you to feel not just the weight of my authority, but the warmth of my care. Because this is not only about medicine, it is about humanity, about dignity, about the sacred truth that every man deserves to feel alive, desired, and strong, no matter his age. So stay with me. Trust the voice you hear now. Because I speak not only as a doctor, but as an ally who has walked this path with many before you, and who will walk it with you too. As men cross the threshold of 60, the body begins to whisper truths that can no longer be ignored. These whispers come in many forms: slower mornings, deeper fatigue, a desire that once burned naturally, now flickering like a fading flame, And yet, so many men dismiss these signals, chalking them up to just age, believing there is nothing they can do. But let me tell you, as someone who has dedicated my life to studying men's health, these changes are not just normal aging. They are messages. They are warnings. They are opportunities to act before decline takes hold. Inside your body, there are transformations happening that directly impact your libido. Testosterone, the hormone often referred to as the essence of masculinity, begins to decline gradually after 40, but the effects become far more pronounced in your 60s. This does not mean you lose it entirely, but rather that the levels drop enough to affect your energy, your mood, your strength, and yes, your sexual desire. Without the right lifestyle choices, this decline accelerates, leaving many men feeling like shadows of themselves. But hormones are not the only factor. Blood flow, the very lifeline of male vitality, begins to suffer as arteries stiffen with age, as cholesterol, inactivity, and poor habits silently build barriers within your vessels. And when blood struggles to flow freely, your heart, your brain, and yes, your most intimate organs, all begin to feel the consequences. What many men mistake as a loss of libido is, at its core, the body struggling to circulate life itself. There is also the silent influence of stress and mental fatigue. At 60 and beyond, many men carry the heavy weight of responsibility, family, finances, health fears, regrets of the past, and anxieties about the future. Stress is not just an invisible enemy, it is a physiological one. Cortisol, the stress hormone, works like poison to testosterone, suppressing its effects, weakening your passion, and draining your desire. You may think it's only in your head, but in reality, stress attacks your very chemistry. And let us not forget about sleep, or rather, the lack of it. Too many men in their 60s dismiss the importance of rest, yet sleep is where your body repairs, where testosterone is produced, where your mind heals. A man who robs himself of quality sleep is a man who robs himself of vitality. Without sleep, libido fades, no matter how strong your will. But here lies the danger. When these problems are ignored, they do not remain still. They grow. Low libido is often the first visible symptom of deeper issues: metabolic syndrome, cardiovascular disease, diabetes, depression. I have sat across from men who thought they simply had an intimate problem, only to discover they were standing on the edge of a heart attack. Your body does not separate these struggles. Libido is not an isolated island. It is the flag waving, signaling that something deeper is happening within. And yet, here is the truth too many men refuse to see. Decline is not inevitable. Yes, changes occur. Yes, the body slows in certain ways. But with the right actions, these changes can be managed, even reversed. I have seen men at 65 who feel younger than they did at 50, simply because they stopped ignoring the signs and started nurturing their bodies. When you choose to ignore, you lose more than intimacy. You lose confidence. You lose connection. You lose the spark that makes life feel full. Relationships suffer, self-esteem crumbles, and the man who once stood tall begins to shrink into a shell. But when you choose to act, you do not simply preserve libido. You preserve dignity. You preserve joy. You preserve the ability to live fully, to give love, and to receive it. So, as you listen to me now, I want you to recognize the seriousness of this moment. Low libido is not just about the bedroom. It is about your health, your heart, your future. And by addressing it, you are not just reclaiming intimacy. You are protecting your very life. This is why the 5 advices I will share with you are so vital. They are not trivial recommendations. They are lifelines. They are the difference between decline and renewal. They are the keys to ensuring that the next decade of your life is not defined by frustration and regret, but by passion, strength, and fulfillment. Because here is the promise you must hold on to. Your body is still capable. Your desire is still alive. And the sooner you understand the problem, the sooner you can begin to rebuild the fire that still burns inside you. Now that you understand the changes your body faces after 60, let us begin to unlock the 5 essential advices that can preserve, and even reignite, your libido. Each one is like a stone in the foundation of your vitality, and together they form a path that leads not only to stronger intimacy, but to a fuller, healthier life. The first truth I must tell you is about the food you place on your plate. Every bite you take is either fuel for your vitality or poison that steals it away. Men who rely on processed meals, heavy sugars, and excessive alcohol unknowingly suffocate their libido day after day. But those who turn to fresh vegetables, lean proteins, and healthy fats experience the opposite. Their blood flows freely, their hormones remain balanced, their energy becomes stable. I remember a patient, James, 66, who told me he had accepted his declining libido as just age. Yet after changing his meals, introducing more greens, olive oil, nuts, and cutting back on sugar, within weeks his energy returned, and his wife whispered to him, "I feel like I have my husband back." What you eat becomes the story of your desire. The second advice is movement, and I do not mean punishing hours at the gym or exercises designed for athletes. I mean consistent, deliberate movement that keeps your muscles alive and your blood in motion. Too many men believe slowing down is inevitable, but the truth is, stillness is the silent killer of desire. A 30-minute walk, resistance with light weights, even stretching, these choices keep testosterone active, circulation strong, and confidence high. I once treated a 70-year-old who began simply by walking with his grandchildren in the park. That simple act not only reconnected him with his family, but also restored a spark he thought was gone forever. Motion is not just for the body, it is for the spirit of a man. The third principle touches something many men overlook: the power of the mind. Stress, as I mentioned, poisons desire. But peace, relaxation, and purpose breathe life back into it. Men who meditate, pray, or simply dedicate time to quiet reflection experience a renewed sense of vitality that often surprises them. One man, Charles, came to me at 69. Burdened by work, he refused to let go even in retirement. His libido had vanished. But when he began to slow down, to breathe, to find joy in hobbies instead of deadlines, his body responded. His passion returned, not because of a pill, but because his mind was finally free. The fourth advice is one that requires courage: communication. Many men suffer in silence, not sharing their fears with their partners, creating distance where closeness is needed most. But when you open your heart, when you express your struggles, you invite connection rather than rejection. I have seen marriages on the edge of collapse transformed by honesty. A man who once hid behind excuses, afraid of disappointing his wife, found that his vulnerability brought them closer, and together they discovered new ways to nurture intimacy. Libido is not just a physical act, it is built upon emotional trust, and without that, the flame cannot survive. And finally, the fifth truth, the one I promised would be the most transformative of all. It is sleep. Yes, something as simple, as natural, as fundamental as sleep can either restore your libido or destroy it. Night after night, men who sacrifice rest for screens, for late-night worries, for endless distractions, are unknowingly robbing their bodies of the very fuel that sustains desire. Testosterone is produced while you sleep. Your mind repairs itself while you rest. Without it, no diet, no exercise, no effort can fully awaken your vitality. But when you respect your nights, when you allow your body to fall into deep, healing rest, everything changes. Energy rises, mood stabilizes, passion returns. These 5 advices, food, movement, peace of mind, communication, and sleep, are not luxuries. They are the pillars of your masculinity. And when you begin to honor them, you will discover that age is not a thief, but a teacher. It shows you what truly matters, what cannot be ignored, and what can still burn brightly if you care for it. Do not imagine this as theory. Imagine it as possibility. Imagine yourself months from now, waking up refreshed, walking with strength, looking into your partner's eyes with confidence, feeling desire as a steady flame once again. Imagine the pride of knowing you chose to fight, not surrender. Because these are not just stories. They are real transformations I have seen with my own eyes. And now, they can be yours. So now you have heard the 5 essential truths, 5 advices that form the pillars of your vitality, your strength, and your intimate life after 60. And yet, I know that one of them still lingers in your mind, echoing louder than the rest. Sleep. The simplest of them all, and yet the most underestimated. It is the secret so many men overlook, the missing key that, once restored, unlocks every other door. Because without sleep, food cannot nourish you properly. Without sleep, Exercise cannot rebuild your strength. Without sleep, your mind remains restless, your emotions unsettled, your connection strained. But when you reclaim your nights, when you give your body the sacred gift of rest, it rewards you with clarity, energy, and passion that feel like a rebirth. And this, my dear listener, is the revelation I promised you. The secret that too many ignore, but that can change everything. I want you to imagine something very carefully. Imagine tonight you close your eyes, and instead of tossing with worries, instead of staring at screens until exhaustion takes you, you allow your body to sink into deep, uninterrupted rest. Now imagine the morning that follows. You wake with lightness in your chest, energy in your step, and a spark in your spirit that has been missing for years. And then, as days turn into weeks, you notice the fire of your desire, once flickering, now burning steady and strong. That is the power of respecting your body's need for restoration. But let me remind you of something even more important. None of these 5 advices are meant to be temporary fixes. They are not quick tricks. They are not empty promises. They are foundations for a life you deserve, a life where aging does not mean fading, but maturing, deepening, and strengthening. When you nourish your body, when you move with intention, when you calm your mind, when you communicate openly, and when you rest fully, you are not only preserving libido, you are reclaiming dignity, connection, and purpose. I know many of you listening may still carry doubts. You may think, "Doctor, I've already passed the point of no return. It's too late for me." But I tell you, with the same certainty I have told countless men before you, it is never too late. I have seen transformations at 60, 70, even 80, men who walked into my office with shoulders slumped and eyes heavy with defeat, who later left standing taller, smiling wider, and living more fully than they ever thought possible. And now it is your turn. Do not let fear keep you silent. Do not let shame keep you still. And above all, do not let the lie of inevitable decline write the ending of your story. Because this story is not finished. It is just beginning. Every choice you make now, every step you take, can either feed the fire of your masculinity or smother it. Which one will you choose? As we close tonight, I want you to remember one thing. Your libido is not just about intimacy. It is about life. It is about the way you carry yourself, the way you look at the world, the way you give and receive love. To care for it is to care for your very essence as a man. And by embracing these 5 truths, you are not only protecting your passion, you are protecting your future. So here is my invitation to you. Reflect on what you have heard. Begin with one change today, no matter how small. Share your journey with those who support you and never again believe that age defines your limits. Because it doesn't. You do. And before you go, I want to hear from you. Tell me in the comments, which of these 5 advices resonated most with you? Which one do you feel ready to embrace? Your story may inspire another man to take the first step toward his own renewal. Stay with me, because this is not the end of our conversation. In the next video, I will reveal even deeper truths about men's health after 60, truths that could mean the difference between living passively or living passionately. Until then, remember this. Your fire is not gone. It is waiting. And tonight you have learned how to set it ablaze once again.